Hey, Challenge One, it's Mrs. Monroe, and you're probably wondering, why are you sending me a video? It's not even Christmas. Leave me alone. I'm sure that's what you're thinking, but I love you too much. I'm so excited about our second semester that I've got to send you a video now. And actually, it's because I'm out of town next week and I can't do it next week. And this way you'll have all the information that you need the whole time. So this is an orientation video because second semester is so different. I just want to make sure that you and your parents have a heads up of what's coming and kind of what to be prepared for and what you need to have ready to go when we first meet. All right. Now, I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but our very first class is January the 8th, which means you have got to get all of your work started on January 2nd, right? Like, what a bummer. Who wants to do that? You know what? You do, because you're amazing. Okay. Actually, seriously, yes, January 2nd is when you need to get started with all your school stuff so you have everything you need when we start January 8th, because there is actually quite a bit of things that you need to have accomplished, all right? So I'm going to give you some details about what you need to have when class starts, and then also I'm going to give you a rundown of second semester and how that's different from the first semester so you can kind of start to get your head around it. Now, it's going to be way more fun, way more fun. I mean, the things we are doing are so fun and unique, and you're really going to enjoy it a lot. But it's in the form of projects. And you know, a lot of these projects are going to run the entire second semester. And so it is vital that you keep up with it week by week and you do not wait until week 13 to start doing your research paper, because you do not want your parents to go to jail for murder, okay? And I'm just trying to save everybody right now and tell you now. So parents, help me, help you, and we'll stay on top of everything. That way there will not be weeping and gnashing of teeth, but there will be joy and rapture and grace and lovely things. Okay? So if you need to watch this video several times to make sure you kind of get it, go get your guide, like push pause and go and get your guide. That way you can kind of like track along as I'm telling you these things. All right. I'm going to go strand by strand, just tell you a few of the changes. And then also we'll review what is due on January 8th as well. Now, the biggest tip I can give you is in your guide, if you will label page 171. Everything I'm telling you is right here on page 171. This is your rundown of when all the projects are due, okay? So refer to this every single week to make sure that you are on track with this, okay? Also, your snapshot page, which is right here at the very beginning, page 37. You should be extremely familiar with this by now. We are going to review this again on the first day of class. And when we had our orientation way months ago, I had y'all do some highlighting to help keep things organized. And I just want to make sure that everybody is highlighted and we're all on the same page with this as well, okay? So we will also go through that on January the 8th. So first of all, let's go through our strands and let's just talk about some things that will be different. So logic and grammar, pretty much the same thing. I'm going to make a little adjustment in class when it comes to our math. I'm going to start using more of the 5 common topics when we share our math problems, just so that we have a little bit more structure. I think we kind of got a little carried away with those problems at the end of the year. And then with grammar, if you're with Henley, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a slowdown now that we're starting to get into new material that the kids haven't seen yet. And so it'll slow down a little bit. So that might be a little bit easier for your Latin. All right. Now, research. We're still going to go through the physical science books and we are still doing experiments in class. All right. That's not going to change. Also, you're going to still have some lab reports that are due, and those are important because they're continuing to take you through the scientific method and getting your brain to think about like cause and effect and what will happen in this and that. So that's great. Now, the big thing that we will add is our research paper. Now, this research paper is going to dominate your life for the whole semester. So you can turn to your guide to page 190, and it's going to tell you all about the research paper, expectations, how to do it, all of that. But also, I have another handout that I'm going to give you on day one, week one, January 8th. And it's also going to have like a week by week description of what you need to do for your research paper when, so that you don't come to the end of the year and you're kind of freaking out, feeling overwhelmed, okay? Because it's a big paper. I think it's like 10 to 15 pages, I think 10 pages, typed font 12. And there's special guidelines. It's basically going to be like 3 essays put together with a big intro and a big conclusion, and a bibliography. And so, bibliography, is that the word? Anyway, and so, so what I need you to do now is think of ideas for your research. Okay. Now, the problem with this is it really could be anything. It does not have to be physical science related. Okay, let me repeat that. It does not have to necessarily be physical science related. Okay, it can just be any questions of any topic, anything that you are interested in. I mean, this could be anything that you are really interested in, that you really want to learn. Okay, now with that said, I want to approve your research idea just to make sure that you're not just going and you're not getting into something that has zero research to support it, or if it's just totally crazy or off the wall, your parents or I might go, no, find something that's legit, okay? But other than that, you can do it. So all of this to say is there's no need to freak out about the research paper, okay? Yeah, it's gonna be work, but also you're gonna do a great job. You're gonna have 15 weeks to put it together, and you're gonna get to pick what you research. So pick something that you are excited to learn about, okay? Okay, cool. Okay, next, reasoning. We are totally switching it up, and we're gonna be talking about Taming of the Shrew, the Shakespeare play. I know, it's kind of weird. Like, what are we doing this for? Well, first of all, this is going to begin your love and appreciation of Shakespeare. We're going to learn how to read Shakespeare and why it's important. And also the main themes in this is marriage. All right, so we are going to have amazing discussions about marriage and the purpose and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to give you more details about this in just a second whenever we talk about what we're doing week one. All right, so hold on to that thought for just a second. Now, also, the Shakespeare project is due week 14. So again, super fun, right? Just, you can do whatever you want. You can use your imagination, be creative. And the details on that are on page 201. And it just gives you all the ideas that you need to make sure that you are creative and you do something super fun with your Shakespeare project, okay? And again, I have an outline that's going to help you track that, so you're not waiting to the last minute, but you're just slowly kind of working on it all semester, so it's not going to be overwhelming. You can actually have a lot of fun with that, okay? Okay, the next strand is exposition. Exposition is going to be pretty much the same thing. You're going to read a book and then you'll write your essay, which y'all are all slamming. Y'all do such a great job with your essays. I don't anticipate any problems whatsoever. The only thing is you've got to really stay on top of your reading, because there were a few times that books got skipped last semester, and that made my heart very sad, because all the books had something of value, and if I have to read them, then you have to read them, okay? So don't skip any books, which means you've got to be on top of it, which is the reason why you got the email earlier about To Kill a Mockingbird, because I'm excited for that discussion. That's been such a fun book. And then the next book we have coming up on week 2 is Born Again. which I'll be honest, I told you I'd be honest, Born Again, it can be a little bit boring and slow, especially because you're young and you weren't alive. Like, you don't know what happened with the Watergate scandal and all that, or you might have an idea. But I thought it was fascinating just because I've heard about that my whole life. And I've heard of Chuck Colson and all that. So I kind of dove into it already with some interest. So I'm going to try to find a video that you can watch that will just kind of give you more detail about Chuck Colson and Nixon and Watergate. So that way when you read it, you get a little bit more context. So just expect that one to be a little bit slow, guys. I'm very sorry, but it's actually an extremely important book, and we'll discuss why. So be ready for Born Again. And then the rest are great. I already told you how much I loved reading the narrative of Frederick Douglass. Oh my goodness, I could not put that book down, guys. I started reading it during Blue Books while everyone was testing, and I came home and I finished it because it was so good. So you do have some really good books that are coming up. So do not ignore them. Make time for them. Okay? The only thing kind of weird is you're going to do a comparative essay with Up From Slavery and the narrative of Frederick Douglass. So we'll get to that and kind of show you exactly what you need for that. But other than that, exposition is pretty much exactly the same. So, oh, and two, we're going to finish with Starship Troopers, which is like the best sci-fi book maybe arguably ever written. I mean, it's really, really good. So we're going to end on something super fun. Okay, next is debate. Now, this is where you're going to see your biggest changes because we're saying goodbye to American government and we're saying hello to economics, which you are going to love. I mean, Cece has done such a great job of putting this in a way that that makes it fun to learn about economics. So we're going to start out reading about penny candy. Well, not about, because it's not a person, but the book, like whatever happened to penny candy. And you're just going to learn how money works. It's fascinating. I mean, I'm always telling my boys, like, anybody can make some money, right? Like you can become a YouTube star if you want, and you can make $1 million, right? But it's keeping that $1 million and turning it into multiple millions of dollars. That's the hard part. And that's what we're going to start learning here is how do you do that? How does this work? So I think you're going to really enjoy it. We're going to play a stock market venture game. I'm actually going to set it up online next week. I will send out the link to everybody so that you can invest, like pretend money in stocks, and we're just going to track it all semester, and at the end of the semester we're going to see who makes the most money, and whoever makes the most money wins. So I know a few of you right now that are already like, oh, I'm winning this, so we'll see how that goes. And then also you're going to have 2 individual events which are pretty easy. They're just memorized, published works. So it could be anything you want. That's 2 to 3 minutes. Oh wait, that's 3 to 5 minutes, and you just memorize it and you come up and you perform it. All right. So it's just starting to give you a little bit more of that rhetoric that's coming up in challenge 2, 3, and 4, where you're going to start memorizing stuff. And again, you can memorize whatever you want. So it's not going to be like that big burden. Okay. And there will be 2 of those that'll be due this semester. I'm sorry, I'm trying to go a little bit faster, but oh well. Okay, we also have our cost of living project. Now, this is also something that's super fun because you are going to pick a career. You're going to track how much you make. You're going to track the cost of living and see just, you know, could you survive? Can you support a family with that? Kids, new cars? Like, what kind of life would you have if that's the kind of career that you choose? So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then also, finally, we are continuing team policy debate. And our resolution this semester is going to be so fun. And, well, it's on 235, but I will read it to you. Our resolution is going to be: the U.S. should significantly change its immigration policy. Ooh, immigration. This is going to be a fun, hot topic. There's tons of research out that's right now just driven by what's happening around us. And we're going to add the rebuttals. So for some of you that are just love to argue, that are really good at that, you are going to have a blast adding the rebuttals. We're going to change it up a little bit. Like instead of having one day where everybody does it at once, I think we're going to break it up into actually 3 weeks. And I will be letting everybody know ahead of time, like what week you're going to be. You won't know if you're affirmative or negative, but I'll at least let you know who you're going to be against in your week. That way, it doesn't take such this huge amount of effort and time out of our schedule that way, because we have just too much to do. We got too much to do. So that's what we've got coming up this semester. It's going to be super duper fun if you stay on top of it. All right. So make sure you're tracking every single week your projects, and you're just touching everything every single week and just kind of moving it along. Okay. Okay. So now I just want to share with you what I'm expecting week 1. This way you cannot show up and say, but Mrs. Monroe, I didn't know I needed that. Or, oh, Mrs. Monroe, really? I had to do work? I thought we were still on break. No, it is time to engage our brains. So week 1, try to finish To Kill a Mockingbird before January 8th. We're going to have such a great discussion, and I want you to be part of it. I don't want you to miss it and just sit there and be like, oh, I didn't read it. No excuse. Have it done so you can be a part, okay? Because then we won't get to talk about it again, because we've got to move on, because then we've got, Born Again, and it just continues and continues, okay? Also, you need to read the introduction for Taming of the Shrew. I hope this is the book you have. If you didn't get this one, then I hope that the same introduction is in it. But this one is really good because it talks about like Shakespeare and kind of some tips on how to read Shakespeare. And then also, just kind of like the theme and Shakespeare's theater. I mean, it just kind of really gives you a good overall, like arcing 10,000 foot view of Shakespeare in general. And then also I really like this book too, because it has like the play on one side, and then on this side it has just like definitions of some words that we're not used to, or kind of explain some events, like what did that mean, things like that. So get this version if you don't have it. This is available in the CC bookstore, and I apologize if I didn't tell you this earlier because I didn't know. I'm learning along with you guys, okay? Also, with Taming of the Shrew, you want to get your parents involved in this conversation, because there's going to be some adult topics that come up about dating and courtship and love and marriage, and you want your parents' wisdom and advice about these things, and what will this look like in your life as you're getting older. And so if you turn to page 203 in your guide, there is a wonderful discussion that I want you to have with your parents on Genesis 24 when it comes to some of these things. So y'all can read Genesis 24 together, and then here is your discussion. And then we will also kind of discuss that more when we get to class. So don't skip that part. And parents, kind of be on them and make sure that you do have that discussion before January the 8th. All right? Okay. In the book, when it comes to economics, it's telling you to do all this stuff for the stock market venture. Don't, okay? I am going to use the computer program, which is not in the guide. They're having you do it by hand. And I mean, this is 2024, right? Like, we're not doing it by hand. We're going to use a website. And so next week, I will send you the link for that. And that's what I want you to get set up before January 8th. So just look for that email with the stock market venture game. And don't necessarily do the stuff in the guide, okay? I want you to make sure you pick your individual event and start memorizing it. I'm going to ask you what it is. Now, in physical science, it's weird because they want you to read module 15, not module 8, because module 15 is about your research project, okay? So make sure that you read all of Module 15 before you come, and actually it's super duper short, so it will only take you a couple of minutes. And then I want you to bring your research ideas. Even if you haven't settled on one quite yet, just bring what you have so that we can kind of hear, and I mean, I'm gonna approve, but also your parents need to approve what you pick, just to make sure that it's a good one. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, and then also for research, we are going to do experiments 8.1 and 8.2 in class. So you need to have your lab journal ready for those. Okay. Okay. See, that's it. That's it. That's just nothing, right? But I know that's a lot coming out of the gate. I do know. And I really hope that you have a fantastic break, that you unplug your brain from some of this for a little while and enjoy your family and this beautiful holiday we get to celebrate because of the birth of Christ. But also, I want you to be just a little tapped in so you know it's coming around the corner, because this semester, like I said, it's going to be different. It's going to be fun, and I want to make sure that you are well prepared for it, because the more prepared you are going in, the easier it's going to be. So thank you again so very much for your time. You know, there are some other Challenge One directors out there who have made their people come to like an orientation class, and I'm cool. I'm not going to let you do that, right? I'm just going to send out this video, and I know you're going to watch it several times, get all the information. I will be in Colorado between Christmas and New Year's, but I will be available for email if you have any questions. And then I hope you have a fabulous new year, and I will see you back in class on the 8th. All right. Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.